The land of real, there's a love that's true. Sugar love is her name, spreading sweetness too. Her voice like velvet, smooth as a summer breeze. Her podcast, the soundtrack to everybody's ears. Sugar love, she's the queen of soul. Her podcast, the place where the stories unfold. News and entertainment with a touch so sweet. She's the heartbeat of the community's beat. She brings the news with flavor like a cup of hot tea. Uncovering stories, bringing light to what we see. With her infectious laughter, she uplifts every soul. Sugar love, she's the one who makes us feel whole. She's the one who makes us feel whole. In the land of real, there's a love that's true. Sugar love is her name, spreading sweetness too. Her voice like velvet, smooth as a summer breeze. Her podcast, the soundtrack to everybody's ears. Sugar love, she's the queen of soul. Her podcast, the place where the stories unfold. News and entertainment with a touch so sweet. She's the heartbeat of the community's beat. She brings the news with flavor like a cup of hot tea. Uncovering stories, bringing light to what we see. With her infectious laughter, she uplifts every soul. Sugar love, she's the one who makes us feel whole. She's the one who makes us feel whole. In the land of real, there's a love that's true. Sugar love is her name, spreading sweetness too. Her voice like velvet, smooth as a summer breeze. Her podcast, the soundtrack to everybody's ears. Sugar love, she's the queen of soul. Her podcast, the place where the stories unfold. News and entertainment with a touch so sweet. She's the heartbeat of the community's beat. She brings the news with flavor like a cup of hot tea. Uncovering stories, bringing light to what we see. With her infectious laughter, she uplifts every soul. Sugar love, she's the one who makes us feel whole. She's the one who makes us feel whole. In the land of real.
Hey y'all, this is the day that Kendra decided to denounce Nature Boy. Yes, she did. What was it that made her do that? What was the last straw? And the credit of this, the credit goes out to Kendra Carter. Go check her out because I'm going to be, as you know, skipping through some stuff. You know, if you want to see the whole video, go on up over there and check it out. But Kendra Carter. Yes. So let's start this video and let's go. Hey, Angela. You hear little birds tweeping back there.
And wow, it was very, very great. I encourage anyone to go watch that. That is that has an interest in cults or cult-like situations. Very interesting and impactful. It's moving for sure, and it's documented incredibly. I just found it like I watched the whole 3 episodes, just like not really well back to back, but I paused it a lot because I was um, also writing my own stuff, which I'm really excited about. I finally feel ready to do some more things, so I'm excited about that. Hey, Kaya, if that's how you spell pronounce your name. Hey, Jayla, or is it Jayla? I don't know. You guys, I love you guys' names, but I hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong. Okay, Courtney, I'm glad you could hear it because I was like, "Ooh, that's nice." I changed my location today, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's nice." And I'm never like live at this time either. So, hey, Medea, Courtney, I thought that was so. I guess strange is a good word, but just also like, I was happy for them because to go through a situation like that, like and they were kids and I just know what it feels like to not be believed or be looked at as crazy. And I was so happy that they were able to access those documents and confirm all the things that they knew were wrong. Like, oh my gosh, it was just such a relief for them, I bet, but also just I can't even imagine all the emotions they went through, but I do think that was just crazy that all those documents were still there, and it just shows that predators and people who just find some type of enjoyment out of abusing people, or even just people who, are good people, but they get caught up in some bad things. But I speaking on predators specifically, it's amazing how bold they are, and the fact that those documents are still there. It's just like they don't care if anyone sees it, like they're not trying to hide that these things are happening. Or at least I'm just glad they can't hide it no more. I'm glad that, after all this time, these kids have a voice. The youth that are now adults have reclaimed their voice. I just think that is amazing. Like, I was just so proud of that documentary and what it said and what it spoke to for people that I just know. Like, for me, it impacted me. So I can only imagine for people who went through that exact situation, how it affects them. Yay, Medea. I'm glad. Yeah, it's something that I was like, finally, feel like I'm ready to do. And I think March was like just a crazy month because it was just surreal almost. Like I would find myself as I'm cleaning or doing something, just stopping and being like, I was really in a cult for 5 years, and the cult leader is literally in prison. Like, what? And this all just happened in a matter of like, it just feels like it just happened. And it just keeps hitting me because it just doesn't feel real. Like that really just happened. And so March was just kind of like still accepting that that was all real. And yeah, now I feel like I'm ready to go through the records, like those the people on the documentary, on the programs, like they were ready. Some of them, were ready to go through those records and finally get the peace that they needed from that, and the freedom that they needed from that. And yeah, there's just so much freedom in bringing to awareness, bringing to the light all the things that happened in dark places that people don't see. I think I've battled with wanting to share my experience, back and forth throughout these last couple years. But I'm going to play a video for you guys today. And the video is, it's a live that I did when I first denounced carbonation. And on this live, I said some things, and it's like, I just know that something that actually the film creator, the one who created the documentary, Catherine Kubler, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She created the documentary, the program that's on Netflix. She said in that documentary something that hit me. She was just like, abuse thrives in silence. And I was just like, yes, exactly. Like, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like when I'm quiet about it, it's like I was quiet about it for years, and I'm not that person anymore that is going to just act like that doesn't happen. I think there's a lot of people out here that find that they just find that speaking out about your abuse is something of like being a victim, or continuously talking about a trauma, or whatever, however they want to view it. But how I view it is, you can give a lot of power to the abuse when you don't talk about it, So, I mean, what works best for you, but it's just a time where I
Right.
feel ready.
Exactly. Exactly.
Been talking about it
Exactly.
online, a couple times here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like so much that I haven't said. There's so much that I want to go into detail about.
Yeah, girl.
That a lot of people, and even recently, people have been asking me about my victim statement still, my impact statement still, and I'm just like, okay, like, I guess I gotta think about how this really did impact me and how it can impact and inspire others, beyond my belief or what I can imagine. Hey, Lisa says, what? What's up? Hey, Miss Downey. Okay, Jayla, that's what's up. Nope, Courtney, you can't hide. It will come to the light.
Yeah, sure.
It was very eye-opening because I didn't know that stuff was going on. What? But that's how it is. Like, you don't know what's going on until someone exposes it. So yeah, it's much relief, and I'm glad that it was brought to the light. Quidot, no, we're talking about we were just talking about a different documentary. It's about it's the program. It's called The Program on Netflix. It's about like basically a cult and cult-like activity, and also abuse of children that was disguised as a youth program for misguided youth, or troubled teens and whatnot, but really turned out to be something quite traumatic for a lot of people. So you should check it out. Yes, thank you, Medea. Oh my gosh, I had to zoom in. Like, who is Cash Barbie? Because a small amount of people from like my childhood call me Ken Ken. So I'm like, hold up, who are you? But maybe you just saying that, you know. Hey, Callie. Hey, Medea. Okay, I mean, thank you, Medea. Appreciate.
This is the reason why.
I no longer have this Instagram account, so um I'm really glad that she has this up there because I was able to circle back, listen to it. It's been the backstory of this live that I'm about to play. Some of you guys may have heard it, but I did this live on October 26, 2022, I believe, 2022. So somewhere between there, to um, let Eligio know. When they called me one day, I let them know, like, hey, I'm no longer want to be with you guys.
That's
like,
good.
I want to do my own thing.
That's right.
And, after being cursed out and all these things and just, just having him having an issue with my decision, I ended up hanging up on them and blocking their number and just that's what started my process of just like letting go. But I never really planned to get back online, go live, or do anything like that. But I had previously watched
And we're glad you did.
former members speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, like they're speaking out, like they get it, like I'm not crazy, like I really thought that I was just denouncing the Messiah, like I was the one in the wrong. I blamed myself for wanting to leave, and finally break free. But it came to a point where I knew it wasn't me no more. I talked to Aaron, and he was, we were sharing some of our experience with each other, and we're just like, oh my gosh, like we were manipulated the whole time. This was going on. This was happening behind your back. This was happening behind my back. This was happening to us all the time. We weren't able to sleep when we wanted. We weren't able to eat when we wanted. These things were really happening. And then that's what made me finally just be like, I can no longer keep up this facade that like carbonation is good, or that Eligio Bishop has the best intentions for people, or that he's treating people right, or that he's not harming people, or that, like we had said all types of things online, like just to defend him. And I just knew that we were lying at this point. So I was like, I need to go back on that page on that Instagram where I said all these good things about carbonation. And I need to just like take it all down because it's a lie. And I don't want to mislead people and make them think, and there's clearly still members that are a part of carbonation, still people being recruited into carbonation. And I knew that me keeping all that stuff up there was gonna send the wrong message. So I'm gonna play this for you guys. This is the video I did October of 2022. Let's go. Let's see.
Hey y'all. I didn't know if anybody would come in here this late, but we'll see. It's dark, y'all. I'm in the dark, yeah.
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon,
Not a
and you should
commercial.
too. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
Yeah, I just wanted to come say one thing. So I don't know if it's gonna be many people that join this. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. I just want to come on here and say something real quick. Yeah, I'm in the dark, y'all.
Hold up, y'all. Why can't I hear it? Y'all can hear it though, right? Okay, thank you, midwife. I know what I'm about to do. I'm gonna play it. Hold on.
Because I'm about to go to sleep, but I didn't want to go to sleep without saying this. So I was like, let me just turn this on and say it. Let me just turn this on and say it real quick. I'm in the process of deleting everything off my page. For some reason, Instagram is making me delete everything one at a time. It's not allowing me to it's not giving me the feature to delete all my posts. So I'm like, well, while I'm up here deleting all this stuff.
What? Hi, Nija. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna cry. I miss you too.
Disturbing illusion, you know. And I want to say thank you to everybody that
into a whole new income stream.
No. Around me and to me, and thank you. And I was like, that's all I can really say.
Hey,
Of
Pooh
course,
Bear.
I'm going to eventually scream the truth louder than I screamed, the lies I've been telling for all these years, trying to cover up for somebody, But that'll come into.
Thank you so much, Missy. I appreciate you. And BB, I see you. Hey, vlog lurker. I see you. But yeah, y'all, I feel like every time I listen to this, I'm listening to it for the first time. So I'm just like, wow, like I've taken me back to this night where I was live and I did this. I just literally had no plans of doing this live. And I really think that I wanted to express exactly what I said here, but I didn't have any plan to do that. I just was like, just press the live button.
Welcome.
And so I just keep saying thank you over again. And as I'm listening, I realized like I really didn't talk about anything that I experienced or anything, really, just like vaguely saying certain things. But I at this point, I really didn't even feel like I fully could talk about what happened to me or anything, or that I wanted to do that right there in this live. It was just so heavy. And honestly, I didn't think people cared. And I know I said that in this live too, somewhere, but I didn't think people really cared to hear, about what I had to say, because I just knew people were going to look at, and I'll talk about this more after this, but I just knew people were going to look at it and be like, what? You was so in, like you was so down. So it was like almost kind of embarrassing to even do this live, but I knew I had to thank people. I wanted to thank people anyways, because I was full of gratitude at the same time as where I had realized that I did experience a lot of trauma. I was also full of gratitude that people had spent so much time and effort trying to wake me up and trying to help me see that I was experiencing trauma. So, you know, it's just interesting how it's just like the very people you think, you know, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that were very mean and nasty, and you know, while I was in the cult, said a lot of things that I think were very hurtful. It's like when I was doing this live, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking more so along the lines like, wow, I'm really free, and people really cared that much that they wanted me to be free. But like I said, I didn't really think that this video would have a large effect or impact on people. I just thought like, I just want people to know like, hey, I'm out. Thank you. And yeah. And then, you know, of course, I wanted people to know that like this identity, this person that I was portraying for 5 years, like it's not really who I am at the core of me. It's not really who I am, you know, and I think I was realizing this too. Because I didn't know for a long time, I didn't know how to separate myself from Sheba, you know, or to let her go, you know, in a sense. So yeah.
Through time, I'm not really concerned about that. What I really am concerned about though is people who fall victim to these type of people, these narcissistic type of people, these people that are literally they don't have the ability to really care or see others in a compassionate way. So I know I know that I've been through things that can eventually really help people, you know, can eventually really help people that may have gone through similar things. But one thing I do want to say though is that please, anybody that's listening to this, anybody that hears this, my name is not Sheba. Don't call me Sheba. That name was given to me by somebody else, and it's not my name. And it's not who I am. You know, so I'm releasing that and moving on. So thank you for being patient and being dedicated to like there's so many people, when I look back, there's so many people that were saying things that I thought were so evil or so spiteful or so mean or hurtful, but they really just cared. And for so long, I just didn't think anybody really cared. Thank you, the perp. Thank you. The perp 30, thank you. So
Thank you all so much. I know I do realize now that that it was genuine. A lot of people genuinely cared, and I think like even some in some way I was also speaking to people that I knew personally when I did this live. But I think I also wanted people to know like, yo, like I am not that person. You know, like I wanted, even though, and you know what, I didn't think people was gonna respect it too. That's why I also wanted to tell people. That's why I put it in title of this live, like, my name is Kendra, not Sheba, because I felt like, man, these people, they all think I'm Sheba. Like, this is wild. Like, what am I gonna do? From now, like, how am I? And I think that's one of the reasons why I just was like, I'm just gonna stay off social media, is because, like, how are people gonna now just start calling me Kendra? Like, are they gonna accept that? Are they gonna respect that? And so I was just like, well, I think the only thing I could do is just respectfully, ask that you call me Kendra. And it's crazy because I think people really proved me wrong, in the sense that, you know, like, a lot of people did respect that. And to this day, people respect that. I think there's always gonna be people who see me as Sheba. But now too, I think I'm stronger in a way where that doesn't phase me. Like, I'm not worried about that. I really do appreciate how many people were just like, yo, like, it's okay. Like, we've been waiting for this today. Like, that, it was just crazy to me. When I tell you I was overjoyed, I think the moment that this live ended, I think that it was just like, what? It was crazy how the messages and stuff started flowing in. And I just was like, wait, so all y'all been watching this whole time? Like, it was just amazing. And I appreciate everyone, for real. Like, I know I say it a lot, but the people that were in my life, like, before all of this, but when I was Kendra, before I was Sheba, like, people that knew me and had to watch me suffer, they had to suffer watching me suffer, that is, it just crazy. And them just like, well, this is what she's choosing, so what can we do about it, and not knowing what to do and just having to be patient. All of that, people like the people that were patiently recording these things and having to watch us, people that they didn't know but that they felt for and cared for, go through these things. I just know it was a hard thing now, because I watch it with the remaining cult members, and I know how difficult it is and how much you want to be like, yo, wake up. So, I do appreciate um the care that I do know is here now, and yeah, I appreciate y'all. I'm reading the comments. I'm a continue to play it, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate everyone that really genuinely reached out because they cared, and everybody that was so-called trolling but was really putting in effort to get us to see, to get me to see, to get everybody that was there to see, and even people that are still involved in. Oh God, it's just wow. And it just takes time. And thank you. And sorry, I'm in the middle of deleting all these posts. I just want to delete them all at one time, but it's not letting.
When I tell y'all what was going through my head, thank you, SB. I appreciate that so much. I really do. Oh my goodness. Man, when I tell you, like, just listening to this is crazy right now. Because I did not know what I was gonna be saying when I got on this live, but it's like listening to me. I can hear how, like, I'm literally just realizing this. Like, I'm just realizing as I'm talking this out. This was the first time I actually said my name is Kendra out loud in 5 years, like for real. So this is like this is what this live is for me. It's like literally taking my power back, taking me back. And it's like the things I'm saying out loud in this video, I haven't said publicly ever, before. And as I'm listening to myself, I can hear that. I can hear that this is the first time I'm saying these things and I'm accepting them. Like just how much that meant to me. It didn't even matter that there was only one person watching in the room live. It didn't matter. It wasn't about that for me. It was just like, I am not this person. This is who I am. And I'm going to claim that. And what's so funny, right before I started this live, I just was so sick of seeing that name Sheba on my IG account that I was trying to figure out what to change the name to. Like, oh my gosh, like even while I was deleting the post, I was so sick of seeing that name on every post. And as I'm trying to think of a name, I'm just like, damn, why don't I just put my name? It's crazy how disassociated I am with my name, how much I don't even associate myself with it anymore, And so that's why I changed it to my name is Kendra, because it was like, I'm tired of being afraid, or, within carbonation, it's like your government name is this bad thing associated with the system, or that you're just another number, and it's your straw man. It's it's who you are in the matrix. And I was just so like tired of living in that fear, even living in the fear that if I delete these posts and denounce him live, that I'm going to hell, or that I'm misleading others from getting into heaven. Like all that fear, I just wanted to get rid of it. And it's like, this is that video where I'm like, I'm done with this fear. Like, how I can't live like this, and going forward. And one of the things that really did it for me was when Aaron called me and he was like, well, we were on the phone with him. He was like, I want to talk to your mom. And we never talked to each other. Like, he never talked to my mom before. And he was just like, I just want to let you know, like, I really love Kendra. And I'm like, Kendra? Like, what? Like, I never heard him say my name. So it's like, some of this, like what I'm saying out loud in this video, it's like coming from that space of, this is like almost like a new life. I really feel like this was that video that started my new life, which is really just coming back into, like, even my voice in this video is literally just coming back into who I am for real. But it felt new to me because 5 years of being somebody else, 5 years of being a character that there was some heavy stuff happened and was believed.
Yeah, a fragment of somebody's imagination.
Yes, I will continue. Let me play it. It's all, I think, let me just play it.
I'm not gonna stop till I delete all these posts, because I just
Hi, my name's Hannah, and I'm here to show you.
That's crazy. I know, Blanche.
Lectures and campus events.
That is crazy.
And inclusive.
I don't know why I just feel like take a nap. No, I'm looking at this window. That's why.
Not today, Hannah.
Oh, they said it at the I do though. At that court, they said
shout
it.
out to Janae, because if she would have never did what she did, I wouldn't be free. That's real. That's real.
Well, that'll go for all of y'all. All of y'all gotta pat yourselves on the back. She set it in motion, but y'all needed each other.
Period. That's really what I was gonna say.
Y'all needed
That's
each
really
other.
the conclusion of that video. Like, honestly, honestly, that's it. Shout out to Janae, because if it wasn't for what she did, I wouldn't really be free. I don't think. And see, a lot of people think that like that is, you know, that's a lot of people have their opinions about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is the truth. The truth is what happened. The truth is what she said happened. And because that's what happened. And it happened to many of us. And I think that initially he wanted us to demonize her and anybody who spoke out against his abuse, because abuse thrives in silence. And if you quiet somebody up, you know, if you scare them and try to quiet them,
Yep.
then you don't have anybody against you, right? You don't have anybody that's going to speak the truth. You don't have anybody who's going to hold you accountable, you know? And so, and I'm so glad I said shout out to Janae in this video, because I didn't even really like process that initially when I said that, but there was something in me that just knew that it was such a possibility that I would still be inside of the cult if it was not for her speaking out. It only took one person. It only took one person to speak out and be like, what happened to me was not okay. It's a crime, and I'm going to speak out in order for, you know, everybody who felt like they had the courage to do the same to end up coming forward. And you know, a lot of people say, well, why these people come forward now? And you know how difficult it is. I know a lot of you guys do.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people know how difficult it is to accept what has happened to you when something harmful has happened, let alone talk about it, let alone tell somebody about it, you know. And within carbonation, it's a big, in a lot of cults, it's a big thing that if you talk about what somebody did to you, then you are being a victim. You're victimizing yourself, and therefore you're not taking responsibility that this reality is you, and it's all an illusion in your mind, and you're making it happen, and you're doing it to yourself. And he told us that all the time, that anything that was happening to us in the cult, whether we were being beat, verbally abused, anything, was what we were asking for. It's what we wanted. That it was our fault. It was written this way in our program, and that's why it had to happen. That's why it was happening. And so it took me months to say no more. It took me, I even still felt some guilt even in this video that I'm showing you now. You know, I felt some guilt about speaking up and speaking out. And this is why I didn't even say his name in the video. Like I didn't even know if I could really express all of that, because I was so used to protecting him and so used to not speaking up about what happened to us and what happened to me. So really, that's what the video, I don't even need to play no more. Shout out to today was it, period. But I mean, at the end of this video, what I go into, and you can, you know, go on the T and re-listen, or I'm sure a lot of you remember that I just continue to ask respectfully for people to call me Kendra, not Sheba. And also somebody asked me during this live, what brought me to this new space? And I basically said that time brought me to this new space.
That's
you know,
good.
When somebody, I spent a lot of time in the cult.
I
spent 5 years in carbonation, and it was a very unique 5 years compared to a lot of other members there, because not only was I a woman, which it was very rare for a woman to be there for that long, but it was also I was a woman who didn't leave, and I had a child. And so, you know, I didn't ever really see anything outside of being in the cult. I didn't, you know, I one time saw my mom, but it was just for a couple days, and it wasn't enough to get me out of the situation. And so you know, I never really left it. And I never denounced him. I never spoke out against him. I never did that, you know, in those 5 years. And there was many times where I tried to leave, you know, and I was always coerced to stay or intimidated to stay and things like that. And so I just think that it's every single one of us has a unique story and perspective, but I share mine because I want to, and I bring awareness to cults, coercive control, manipulation, abuse, you know, and things that, and today I also just want to bring awareness to, like,
The benefits of Grammarly Premium.
A premium plan with Grammarly.
Hold on. Okay, here we go. And we're back. Today, I also want to bring awareness to the dangers of victim blaming. You know, I've seen a lot of that over the past few years and how harmful it can be. I think about people who are in these type of cult or cult-like situations, or people who know people who are in them, and it, you know, it can really do a lot of harm to victim blame and shame. So yeah, like, I think it's just so very important for me to use my voice and not allow the intimidation of others or anything really to come in between what feels right to me. I think that, you know, the video I just showed you was a start to that. I think in that video, I even said that I wanted to scream the truth louder than I screamed the lies for so many years. I think that I didn't even, a part of me knew that I wanted to tell the truth about what happened. I didn't want to be Sheba anymore, in the sense of the one who always either stayed quiet or omitted the truth. You know, I was very good at speaking up on his behalf when I felt like, you know, it would help him save face or help us save face, or, you know, the means justified the end. So we had to, you know, lie on the camera. And a lot of videos that the current cult members put up now of me saying things in support of Eligio, I think that a lot of people know this, but I think
Yeah,
maybe
we know
some
you
people
lying.
are not aware and maybe just think that I'm a two-faced person or something.
No, we knew you were
But
lying.
cult members lie,
Duh.
just like cult leaders do. And also cult members are just not aware of what they're going through for real. It's something that is hard to reconcile with when you have been duped, when you have been conned, when you have been straight up lied to and manipulated. It's hard when you think of yourself as a smart person, intellectual person, intelligent person. It's hard to believe that somebody could manipulate you to that degree, you know, and influence you to that degree. You know, especially you think you're a good person. Why would I ever do something bad? I'm not doing anything bad. You know, I'm doing these things. If I'm harming somebody else, no. It's not even called harm. You know, when you're a cult member, what you're doing is everything you're doing is serving God. So it's it's hard to reconcile with the fact that you've harmed yourself and others in this destructive situation. And so I think a lot of people don't even like to use the word cult or admit that they were in a cult or are in a cult because they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to take accountability for the fact that it was pure manipulation. You were manipulated, coerced into doing things. It wasn't you didn't willingly do things. I think that's hard for people to um admit and understand because no one wants to feel like they did something against their will. And especially when you were under physical restraint, like all, some people were definitely under physical restraint, but a lot of times restraint can happen psychologically, and or somebody can restrict your finances or your food intake or your sleep and things like that. And you think, well, I'm doing everything I'm doing here willingly. But when you're sleep deprived and you're not properly nourished, you're actually not capable of making independent decisions, or you're more likely to be influenced, I should say. So I think it's hard. I think it's hard for people to admit. I don't even blame people who were in carbonation who are thinking, no, it wasn't a cult, or I didn't do anything I didn't want to do. I don't I try not to say, hey, you're wrong, because um if it's not a cult to you, then that's how you feel, and I'm not gonna invalidate that to you. But I'm not gonna allow that to ever stop me from speaking up about what it is, because it definitely is a cult. Um, and you can ask cult experts and people who specialize in researching cults if it's a cult. You can look up as much research as you can about cults and realize that it's a cult. But at the same time, you gotta want to admit to yourself some of the things that very much did happen and some of the things that you participated in. That's a hard thing, you know. Um, exactly, exactly. Oh yes, Naja, you right. You right. But I mean, that's the situation for all of us, right? Hey, Moon Goddess. Yes, Carrie. Yes, I believe that this is so true. I appreciate you for sharing that too. And uh, I think that when you think that you can't fall into groupthink, that's when you possibly are, or you are probably the perfect one to fall into groupthink because you think that you can't, So, I try not to blame people for their perception of it, but I do think that there's a reason why me at 23, 24 years old got indoctrinated into a cult. I believe that I thought that I was so intelligent that I would be able to see a situation offhand or see a person offhand that is destructive and say, no, 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 I will not go, or no, I will never agree or comply to anything that I don't that doesn't work for me. But I also think that I was very much um, needing someone and something to solve my issues. I needed a simple solution. And they seem to have it. Nature Boy seemed to have it. They seemed all to be happy. Seem to have the answers. And I think that sometimes we don't realize what we're capable of, of being a part of. You know, we think like if things aren't the way I want to, you know, if I go over here around these folks and I don't feel comfortable, I'm gonna just leave. But we underestimate the power of persuasion. And like you said, groupthink, especially when it's for a cause. Yeah. And you know, and there's thought reform involved, coercive control and mind control involved. Hey, Soul Sis. And Lisa says, well, yeah, they even lie under oath on the witness stand. There really is no limit to what cult members do, you know, or can do. And that's another reason why I think it's so important for me to like just speak out and speak up, because I think that, you know, it can get it's a dangerous situation. It is harmful. And I think that like in the past, maybe I've downplayed it, or I've watched other and heard other people downplay it, or, you know, we make fun, we have to laugh about it because it's some very dark and heavy stuff too. But it is very dangerous. Like if cult members are willing to uh lie under oath in the court of law, they don't care. You know what I mean? Like if they're willing to, a lot of times in cults, they're very cut off. I remember having to be very cut off emotionally, you know, having to disregard authentic, you know, like that moral compass that you have, that authentic will that you have to do the right thing. And, you know, it gets replaced with, well, when you're doing what I tell you to do, you know, when you're doing what the cult leader tells you to do, then you're doing the right thing. So a lot of times you're like, have to cut yourself off emotionally. If you love your kids or you love your family, you have to cut that off or try to turn that off in order to function and obey the leader. And so there's really no limit to what cult members will do. We've seen that in Jonestown. We've seen that in the Manson family. We've seen that in Nexium, and the women who actually branded Keith Raniere's initials on other women. You know, we've seen a lot of cults where, you know, and Larry Ray in the Sarah Lawrence College cult, we've seen the students that were a part of his cult slapping each other, smacking each other, which is the same thing that we were doing in Carbonation. We had to cut off our emotional connection to each other, and just like our morals, you know, like I don't slap people. That's not something I've never actually slapped anybody in my life until being in Carbonation and being ordered to slap someone, you know. So it's like you think you're a good person, and you are, but good people can be influenced to do bad things. And we've seen that countless times in cults and groupthink, where one person, you know, if he tells you to cut your hair, everybody has to cut their hair. Everybody cuts their hair, and all of a sudden it's normal to be bald. But, you know, you wouldn't do that on your own, you know, or, you know, there's been riots, there's been, and I think it's cult leaders, predators, and cults in general. They don't want you to speak out. They want to intimidate you. They don't want you to speak out of what's really going on inside, because they want to seem like it's just this elusive thing, even though a lot of times, and specifically in Carbonation, things were recorded, things were on live. They still wanted it to seem, he still wanted to make it seem like everybody was doing what they wanted to do, and what people were saying online wasn't really going on, and what people who left were saying wasn't really what was going on. And it was always gaslighting involved. It was always members, like current members, talking about the ex-members like, oh, they're lying, or oh, when they were here they were, you know, singing a different song, and da da da, because they need to keep that up in order to kind of make it seem like, you know, put this smoke screen up so that they can continue to recruit, you know. And man, the amount of recruitment that is involved in anything that is a cult, I saw that when I was watching the program. earlier, and I saw how they used this guy that was, or he came in to do PR for the so-called youth program, or train the school training thing they were trying to sell that was helping youth, but really it was a space where they were abusing youth. They had a PR person come in and take pictures of these young people having a good time, even though they weren't, even though they were being abused. They were given a day of freedom or a day of fun just so their pictures could be taken and they could be posted on brochures. Like, look, if you send your kid here, your kid's going to have a good time. And I'm like, wow, it's so interesting, because when in carbonation, how many PR stunts was I involved in, where we were literally on the beach or inside some water or under a waterfall or out in the jungle, and we made a video, and or he posed
Hey, Nick.
and told us how to look and to smile or not to smile, or how to place our hands, or how to interact with each other. How many times have we did a video where he literally told us to laugh, like laugh and pretend she said something funny, and he recorded us and he put it out there like we were all just having such a great time. And each one of the women who are still members of Carbonation, I actually played a part in recruiting them into Carbonation on Eligio's behalf. And even then, some of them have played their role also in recruiting other women on Eligio's behalf. So it's like, you really don't want to believe that all of that was a lie, but it was. And if you look closely enough, you will see that, and I think it's hard for a lot of people to come to terms with that. It's much easier to say, I'm no victim, I wanted all of it. But if you were to say, hey, I want to join Carbonation, and they sent you back everything that happens in Carbonation truthfully and honestly, you'd be like, no, I ain't going. I want to eat when I want, sleep when I want, listen to what I want, read what I want. And of course you are aware of certain things. You're radicalized, and you're when I say aware of certain things, I mean like you're radicalized. You're thinking of the system as this dark, evil entity that's sucking your energy, and you're going to work every day for money, and you have to protect yourself and all these things. And you're thinking the only option is to run into nature with these people who, or, now they say is to keep the knowledge, you have to have the knowledge. That's what's going to save your soul. And it seems like a very simple fix for a very complex issue in your life. Whatever you're going through, it's so easy to say, keep the knowledge, and think that it's fixed or you're fixing your issues. But I think it's harder to get real help, or truly look at yourself and be accountable for the way your life is, not just blame the system for it. And I think many of us found it easier to blame ourselves after a while, blame ourselves for what Eligio was doing, blame the system for what Eligio was doing or what we were doing or what we had to do, or to blame ex-members. We blamed women who came and left and told the truth about what happened in their experience. We blamed them. It was so much easier to play the blame game and then say, well, we're no victims. We wanted it. Or we asked for it. We willingly went over there. I don't think anybody willingly gives up their freedom or wants to. I think if everybody could be free, they would want to be free, and I think that in my case, when I went to Carbonation, that's what I thought I was going to be, was free. In fact, I thought I would be more free than I was before I was in Carbonation. But what it turned out to be was a prison of sorts, Thank you, logical thinking. Yeah, I'm glad I got my mind back too. Yeah. You know, i- it's not just 20, it's not just the 20-year-olds. I think, I witnessed incarnation, um, women and men of different ages joining what they thought was a spiritual experience, a natural lifestyle, natural
Yeah.
community,
Rest in peace, Mama
um,
Dia.
thinking that, same as me, probably if they were to see something wrong or didn't like the way something was done, they would leave. And, some people did, and they weren't indoctrinated to the point where they felt, if they wanted to leave, they could leave. Um, and, obviously some people were allowed to leave, not everybody. But I don't even think it's just 20-year-olds. I mean, I do think that in my early 20s, I wasn't aware of a lot of things. Definitely not aware about and educated about cults. But man, I see some
Nick
different
said,
ages.
get
But
the
I think the
lights
younger
up.
you are too, like the more vulnerable you are, for real. I do because
We are an hour in. We are an hour in. Here's our hour break. And Nick said, get these likes up. So we're going to take these tab up and get these likes up. So let's go.
You're the glue that holds us tight.
Let's get these likes up.
So bright. You're the one who keeps the love train on track. With a heart so pure, you've got our backs. Oh, Nick, what would we do without you? You bring the love, you bring the joy too. Through highs and lows, you're always there. Oh, Nick, we're so grateful you care.
Let's get these likes up. We halfway there. Let's go. You want to support the channel? Support the channel. Hit the like for free.
With kindness and love, through the thick and thin, you're our guiding star. We're forever, wherever we are. Need to meet. You're the glue that holds us tight, keeping us together, shining so bright. You're the one who keeps the love train on track. With a heart so pure, you've got our backs. Oh, Nick, what would we do without you? You bring the love, you bring the joy too. Through highs and lows, you're always there. Oh, Nick.
Hey, I'm in it. You and me, we got something so sweet. A love that's got us moving to the beat.
Hey.
Moving, catching the vibe.
That's right now.
A sugar love show we can't hide. Welcome to the love train, baby. Get on board. Feel the rhythm in your soul. Let it take you, let the good times roll. Ooh, yeah. Shake your hips, let your body sway. The love train's here, gonna make your day.
Come on up on this love train and hit them lights. We're halfway through. Go shake your feet. Get you something to drink. Go tinkle. Yes.
Ain't no way you could tell me like why does this man like, you gotta think about it. Eligio Bishop is like, well, how old is he now? Like 40 or
2, 3,
older? Why was this man
43.
trying to get 18 and 19-year-olds to live with him, 17-year-olds to follow him? Why was he impressed by these young aged people following him and having these so-called, these young wives? Or, oh, my wife is only 20. Oh, my wife isn't this. Why are you looking for that? And it's obvious to me now that he knows that those are impressionable minds.
Impressionable, yes.
And it's sad because when you are an impressionable mind, you don't know that you're an impressionable mind. You think that you got it figured out, or that, like I said, if something was to be wrong, you would have figured it out, or you wouldn't. I think I've even heard one of the current cult members say, if there was abuse, you think I would still be here? And I'm like, wow, and not even you believe that you would accept abuse. And that's crazy, because I was just in that situation where I didn't believe that I wouldn't willingly accept abuse. So no, I would definitely leave. If there was abuse going on, I wouldn't be here. That's what you would like to think. But man, and it's crazy because you don't think that you could ever be just involved in like anything that terrible. Like when I was watching the program, I'm like, wow, how many people had to witness child abuse and didn't say anything?
Yeah.
And we would all love to say, like, I would be the first person to stand up, and maybe you would, but not everybody would. And that's how these things happen, and it's crazy to think about, it's crazy to think about. And I don't blame myself.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, and had I known better, I would do something very much different. I wouldn't have allowed certain things to happen to me or anybody else. And I wouldn't have inflicted pain on nobody or nothing like that. But I didn't know, but I think, we like to think we would know what to do in any situation. Thank you. I love all. I appreciate this comment. I appreciate this a lot. Exactly, Jayla. That's all that matters. What was that?
Oh, Lordy.
He would mostly try to manipulate them, talk to them, and he would kind of make sure that he was the only one talking. But one time, like, I remember a policeman trying to talk to me, and he kind of like interrupted it, and he wanted to speak, so he wanted to speak instead of me speaking. So, it's happened like that sometimes. He tried to control it all the time, to where if they was just trying to, a lot of times they would try to separate us. Hey, you come with me. I want to talk to you over here. And he'd be like, no, they're not going anywhere. We're all going to stay together. So a lot of manipulation.
And they went for that
when police would get involved. And eventually, like, if they're not there with a warrant or anything, it was like, well, in these other countries, they didn't really come with warrants. They would just
you don't need a warrant,
do what they did, like either arrest him, or they would take us all in or something. But yeah, he would just try to manipulate them the same as he would. I think in Atlanta was the first time I seen the genuine fear on his face, dealing with the police. I think that's when he knew his time was up, low key. I think he knew it was over. Oh, but he would just, he would tell everybody where to go. And then he would always tell us, listen to him. Don't listen to what the police were saying. Listen to him. We were trained to follow nobody but his orders. So say the police was like, hey, what's your name? We were trained to not say anything to the police. unless we were given permission by him. Or if the police was like, I need you to get your jacket and come with me, we would look at him. What do you want me to do? Well, what do you want me to do, Messiah? But we would look at him because we wouldn't enlist it. So that's kind of how that worked.
Yep. And cop your butt in trouble. Y'all keep playing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, twin. Oh, appreciate it. He didn't say I'm not concerned, but I'm paraphrasing. He was like, I'm less concerned with the people, with the young people who were broken in the program. I'm more concerned about the young people who what's the word he used? Who worked it, or who succeeded, or who, like, for them it was like they graduated. And when he said that, I was like, dang, because it's a different type of trauma, but it's still trauma. When you figure out how to kind of work the game, and you figure out how to like beat the system in the situation that you're in, when it's such an abusive and destructive situation, it's a different type of trauma to have to watch people go through very abusive things. I was still abused in many ways, but there's certain things that I saw, and just having to sit there and watch it, that tape is always gonna be in a record in my head, like it can be triggered at any moment. And then oftentimes being played against other people, like, y'all need to be more like her, why can't y'all act like her? Or when somebody else is getting in trouble, I'm being used as the one to intimidate or something like that, like. And so I never really actually had real relationships in the cult. I always felt really like alone when it came to like with other women, because I was used like
all of y'all.
I was so different.
Y'all be
all and that was used a lot.
All of y'all
compared
was
a lot. A lot of times I would be abused emotionally too. So it's just a different type of trauma, to have to yell at people and tell them they deserved the punishment that they're getting, or you have to give out the order now, like at one point I was over the women, and I had to give out punishments, like you have to stand in the corner, or you have to do squats, like like that type of stuff is trauma as well. Because like I be thinking about that, like, damn, why did that have to happen? Why didn't I just, and what made me go on that power trip, and like feel something out of that? Because like that's not even who I am. I don't want nobody listening to me and like obeying me and none of that. Like I don't even do that with my son. Like he don't get that type of energy from me. So it's just crazy. But and I was still humiliated online. So it's like it's a different type of trauma, but it's still the same thing. But I do think that a lot of times I would see what people were doing to get in trouble, and I would try to avoid that. But then to do that, what that does to you psychologically, I'm still undoing that. I'm still getting help for that. I still have to work that out, because it took a lot of fear. It instilled a lot of fear in me to not be myself, or to, not speak up about what I wanted or needed in situations, or to feel guilty about wanting to eat or wanting clothes, or, like all those things that I just literally, I learned how to shut up about. I watched women be like, man, I don't want this, I want this. And I just didn't say nothing. I learned how to just not say nothing. I see women get attitudes. I learned how to just smile. And here I am smiling while I'm being abused, or while I'm inflicting pain on it. Like it's still traumatic. It's just a different type, Hey, Sugar Love. I appreciate you. I ain't talking about all that today, Slim Thomas. Slim. Where have you been? I've been talking about that. Hold on, y'all. 1 second.
His
I'm gonna pause it
lordship.
real quick. Y'all stay right there. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Next time, his lordship. What's up, my brother? And it's play astrophysics. Even though we know you joking, there is no such thing. Oh, I had to. There we go. I forgot I had this on my nose.
You know, I think like once he can crack somebody and break them, he it's not like much interest there. When somebody follows his orders to the
Thank you,
T
lordship.
and they basically become a servant for him and like they'll do whatever he asks, he kind of is bored with them and he kind of like, you know, it's not that interesting. But somebody who, you know, might talk back every now and then or, you know, have something smart to say or not feel as afraid of him. I think also he liked that it was like he liked people who weren't as afraid of him because it would give him another reason to instill more fear. That's my opinion based off my observation. Yeah, I mean, I think this is an interesting way to view it. Yeah, because the things you have to do, the person you have to become, you know, shit, it's traumatizing, bro. Like the birth you have to become, but kind of like this. Yeah, like I look at old videos and I'm just like, that don't even look, I don't even see me there. But I think a lot of times I wasn't. Like it's so interesting and weird. And I think that's what also attracts me to continuously learn about it because it's like, what? You know, it's a lot to be understood there. You know, like how does that happen? Because it does happen, and I've seen it happen to not just me. So it's very interesting. Definitely feel like I was outside myself. I think I was. That's why, you know, and also the tactics that were used. That's why I do say it was brainwashing and mind control because of certain tactics that were used, like isolation and repetition and sleep deprivation and
Yep.
food control and all that stuff, like information control, behavior control, you know, just consequences for crazy stuff, rules always with everything, you know, and constantly increasing. All of those things just take you outside of your own self, you know, group think. Yeah, the buddy system was used. We weren't allowed to go nowhere by ourselves. Nope. Actually, in my opinion, Jayla, it was the same thing with both of them. You know, they both were very strong women, are very strong women. And it's just, I'm not saying that any of the other women or myself are not strong, But I think, like I said, it's a different type of trauma to just go along and obey with the manipulation and then become a manipulator. And then it's another type of trauma to rebel against the manipulator or the abuser and then get punished, and then conform and then manipulate as well, but then start to rebel again and then get punished. Like, I just think that it was the rebellious spirit or the wanting to be free, really just the desire to be free, not even rebellious. I don't like to even use rebellious because you're rebelling against something that it's really just what anybody wouldn't want. You don't want to be abused, you want to be harmed. So I really just think it, for both of them, the women he chose out to really cause harm to, or call, like he would say, like, oh, these are my equals, or this is my chiefess or my queen. It was more so he chose them because it's like, from my view, it's like they didn't want him. It was more of a challenge. Not even they didn't want him, but they didn't desire to obey him, like, and they didn't so easily do it. That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't so easily do it. And he couldn't break them, like I said before. Okay, Houston in the house. We see you. Okay, Houston. JC, no. I'm not interested in having a brief convo with you. It's nothing personal. Well, it might be. I'm not really interested in having a conversation with you. Not today, at least. Yeah. I remember you and stuff, and I never really had a relationship with you or anything. And I got trust issues. No, I'm just playing. It's not that deep, but I just, I don't have an interest in doing that right now. I think it started off. Let me see what you say, Cash Barbie. Yeah, I think a lot of people think this way, but I think this is not actually what actually happened. I don't think it was genuine from the get-go. Not me. I don't believe it was genuine from the get-go at all. To many people, bright morning, but yeah, to many people, but there was some people that's not really true about. Thick like pound cake. Thick like pound cake. You can ask your question. Oh, thanks, Vlog Lurker. And thank you, BB. I appreciate it. Nobody really talked. You said nobody ever talks about her because I don't know. I guess because she's quiet too. I don't know what her deal is besides that she's been indoctrinated. She's I think she's still an active cult member in Carbonation. And she was once physically in Carbonation while I was there in Puerto Rico. And that's she came for the women's boot camp that we were holding, that Eligio decided to have, and he wanted me and Eferu to be the leaders of the women in the boot camp. And there might be some old videos online where we were kind of like, clearly teaching them on the whiteboard and things like that. Basically, our job was to indoctrinate them with the so-called knowledge of carbonation, as known as the 5 sciences, while also teaching them how to be a woman and serve the king, aka Eligio. So that was our job. We would do just a bunch of different what do you call those things? I'm trying to think of what it's called. Things. What is it? I can't think of what it's called. Drills. Yes, we did a bunch of drills and stuff like that to basically get them to be like us, brainwashed. Like seriously, it was like basically we were given like six something women came, 6 or 7, and we were just supposed to like teach them the knowledge and indoctrinate them, basically make them a righteous and virtuous woman in the kingdom of heaven, or carbonation, or whatever you want to call it. And she was there when we were actually instructed to jump another girl, and she was there for a lot of other abusive things too. And I think she got to the point where she was like regretting her time there. I mean, and mind you, we had a lot of like experiences where we would stay up late together, we would drink together, we would smoke together, we would like things that would, brought the group closer and closer as the women and stuff. And I think that it was hard for her, but she made up her mind that she wanted to go. And the process of wanting to leave you always have to go through Eligio to get permission. So we went through him. She was read a couple Bible verses, convinced and coerced to stay, but she ultimately decided to go. She missed her family. I think she's close with some of her family members, and wanted to go. I think she also wanted to be there, to be in a relationship with Jax, but wasn't allowed to be. None of the women were allowed to be with the other men at that time. So yeah, I think she just was at her breaking point. She decided to go, and she left. But she never, when she left, she didn't ever talk about what happened while she was there. She still hasn't, and I wonder why. Maybe she thinks it was justified, everything that happened. The means are justified because this is the kingdom of God and he's the Messiah. I don't know. It was okay for us to jump that girl, I guess. And maybe she thinks because she participated in it, it's like I said, it's really hard to confront that and admit that, and then be honest about that was just bad. It was something bad you participated in, I don't know. I think, like I said, everybody has a unique story. When she decides to tell it, it'll be interesting. And everybody has a reason for wanting to even be a part of a cult or a group that maybe they don't know it's a cult, but everybody has like a reason, or what kind of baits them in or what gets them in. And I think that, in short, it's really just like you're looking for a solution, a quick fix to something that may be a little bit more complicated going on in your life. I think it's possible, but I don't know. And what do we define broke as? Maybe she's broken in the sense of now she agrees to a lot of things that she once didn't agree with, or she suppressed more of her authentic self, so maybe that shows more brokenness. But I don't know, because it's still a possibility that she could be like, man, F this. It's still a possibility. It is very much still a possibility that each and every one of them could be like, man, this is not what I signed up for real, because it's not. Like I think you have to ask yourself, is this really what I signed up for genuinely? Probably not. Did you sign up for control, this much control over your life, full 100% dictatorship over your life, somebody having that much control? You might as well have stayed in the system. If that's the case, the same thing you're saying about the system is the same thing this person is doing to you. So you might as well have stayed in the system for all that. And rather than rack up charges and felony charges and stuff, that's crazy. I don't know. Probably, I don't know. Probably being around people and being a narcissist, and maybe having a little sociopath sprinkled in there, and mimicking people, and figuring out what makes people react and respond certain ways. I don't know. Good question. I never ever seen him by himself. And I think a lot of people think that it was good in the beginning because there was more propaganda than there was evidence of abuse. But I think abuse has been happening since before carbonation. And it was happening at the beginning when it was melanation or whatever it was called in the very beginning. It's just that that wasn't recorded. And you don't hear a lot of those people coming forward. But go back and listen to Yaya's live back in Costa Rica. You'll see it was never good. And also, if you go back and look at the picture of Maisha, when he basically almost unalived her, this person has never been a good person in my humble opinion. He's never been somebody that had any type of genuine care or desire to help others. I don't think that is the case. I think that he's always found enjoyment out of actually humiliation and torture. I think that that's always been something that he's enjoyed. Always. I think there's people from his past that could speak to that, that have spoke to that. And I think there's people from melanation who spoke to that. And, I think you know what, Cash Barbie, I have to be honest. When people say things like this, I don't really appreciate it because I feel like it invalidates those survivors who came out and spoke up against melanation. And we know BP came out and spoke up, and it's just like, we have to acknowledge that like he never really was on this like journey by himself to come out into nature. We have to realize that that was in a very much, your opinion might be valid, but it very well could have been that he came up with this whole strategy. He kind of knew what people were on at that time. People were trying to figure out who they are and going back into nature type of thing. And he probably just jumped on the bandwagon because he knew it would have been a way to con people and get some money out of it and get some attention out of it, and also be able to cause harm to people, which, he was doing already. I think he made it seem like he was going on this spiritual journey. He had this whole thing set up to make it seem like that. But I don't think his intentions were ever well. And that's coming from somebody who was around him for 5 years. Yeah. I am individual. I am individual, friend. I am you. I don't know what this is. Who's okay, Josie? Josie, you just put me on to something. I don't know what close to consciousness is, but I'm gonna have to look it up and look up into it. Sounds like it would be a cool. Is that a podcast or a channel? Sounds like it'd be a cool channel to be hip to. Yeah, see, y'all be having some good points. Yes, I remember that. Yes, we had a boot camp. Well, I don't know what she said, but yes, yes, yes. Yes. I think she took a little bit pride in that time in Puerto Rico when we had that women's boot camp. And I think we did really want it to be a beautiful thing. We did yoga. Honestly, we had a little bit more freedom than we did when he was around. So it was pretty nice. We were able to like go on hikes, do yoga. We didn't have like men around us. He wasn't around us physically. So we were able to just feel a little bit more free. But because of the brainwashing, we were also inflicting the same type of manipulation onto the newer people that were coming, the women that were there. So, um, which is just terrible and to brag about. That's why I don't, it's like you could talk about the beauty. And I said that in their comments one time. I'm like, you can talk about the beauty. We're not debating that. We know it was beautiful. That's how we baited people in. We know that. But the issue is like what was behind that, what wasn't recorded or what wasn't put out. Because there was some things that were even recorded, but it wasn't put out for a reason. Why? Why didn't we address so many things that happened? You hear people online saying, what happened on 4th of July? What happened on 4th of July? And we just don't talk about it. Or, Isis goes lives and she talks about what happened in Puerto Rico, what we did, and what we just don't talk about it. Or we say, oh, that person is going around telling our business, oh, they're being a snake, or oh, they're being two-faced, or like, no, 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 no. People speaking out about the harm done to them is just speaking out about the harm being done. It's not malicious against anyone. It's just simply speaking the truth, which is interesting because in carbonation that they say they value the truth so much. He always used to say it's about the truth. I value the truth. But when the truth is brought to the light, you cower from it, or you act like that person's crazy or that can't possibly be true, but you were there and it is. Trying to make people, seem like they're crazy. That's ridiculous. Yeah, y'all got some good points. Everybody got their theories, And exactly that. In one bright morning, I believe it. I believe it. And now for Act 1. Exactly. Okay, Josie. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that for sure. I don't know what you talking about. Bingo. Start using the knowledge against itself. It's like, no, no, for real. Yeah. It is. Hmm. It is. I think about that all the time. I'm like, I think about that first day. I remember pretty well all of their first days getting there, except for Malia. I don't remember hers too well, but I remember every other um like initiation or the events leading up to when they first came. I always think about that because I'm like, you are not that person anymore. Like, and I wonder what it is they feel about themselves and think about themselves now when they look in the mirror. Because I know, like, when you're in these type of groups, or when in these situations, you want to believe that there's growth happening. A lot of times cults and groups like this, they promise you something. In this case, they promise, and Bishop promises eternal life. He promises knowledge of self, higher consciousness. And when you're there, he's always telling you you're not there yet. Like when you're physically in his life or whatever, or you're underneath his scrutiny, you're never there yet. You've never reached your higher self, your higher consciousness. You're always battling with your demons. He says you're in your demons. You need to overcome your demons. And so they are like in that constant, it's almost like the world is going on, but your life is literally on pause. Not literally, but it's on pause figuratively, because you're battling with this one thing. Imagine like you can't get over this one thing and you're just battling with it day in and day out and day in and day out. The world's passing you by. Events are literally happening outside of this, but you can't even focus on anything but what's in front of you and what you're battling. And so it's like time stands still for you to figure this out, but only to realize that you can never figure it out. It's unfigure outable. It's like, it's impossible to figure out because there's nothing there. Or what you're trying to figure out, that's not what it is. That's the smear, that's the illusion or whatever. He's telling you, oh, see, you're in your demons. You want to be an independent woman. You need to, listen to me, listen to my mind. And you're battling with the fact that you want to be independent. You just want to listen to your own mind. And you can't just listen to him, and you're battling with that day in and day out. But that battle you'll never win because you're never supposed to listen to this guy. He's not supposed to be the dictator of your life, but you're thinking that's what's best for you. So you're never growing because you can never fully, become what it is he needs you to become. And even when you're the perfect servant, there's something wrong with you. I thought I had became the perfect servant, and still he stomped on me, literally, and said it was because of my ancestors. Like, what? Like, I can't win with you. And so it's you don't win. And I want to say that to everyone who's thinking about joining Carbonation, has recently joined, or who's still affiliated with Carbonation. What if you don't have eternal life? What if he's not your higher self? What if this higher self you're trying to reach is unattainable? And maybe you're just supposed to be who you are? What if your inner voice is correct? What if those demons you've been trying to overcome actually don't exist? What if your family they're not demons? What if they're not demons? What if the people out here, there's a lot of kind people? What if everybody's not a bad person? What if everybody's not being ruled by the system or money? It's like all the things that you battle with on an everyday basis. What if that's the false evidence appearing real? What if that's the fear that you're being ruled by is what Eligio's been telling you to fear. You know, like it took me a while to just like accept that everybody in the world is not a bad person. Like, what if they're not a bad person? Like, what if people are out here really trying to do good by each other and by the earth? Like, what happens if you really question what you've been taught? What happens if that hellfire that you think you're going to get doesn't really exist? Man. And I know this is blasphemy, man. This is blasphemy. But what if? Exactly, Josie. You're trying to prove that if I can figure this out, I will be better. I will be supreme. I will be the best version of me. I stay far away from that now. Like, I don't even tell myself like one day I'll be the best version of me. No, 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 no. I accept realistically where I am today. Of course, I have goals. Of course, I have things I want to become or things I want to accomplish, but I don't let that be my value. I understand that I inherently have value just by being who I am. And what if you do? What if you have value outside of carbonation? What if you are a valuable person without having goddess on your name? Like, what if you're just valuable who you are? Like, your birth certificate says you who you are, bro. Like, what if that's okay? What if that doesn't mean anything bad? You know, it's amazing how you start thinking outside the lines, thinking outside the box. Because what happened? You thought you were in the box of the matrix or the system, but you hopped into another one because this one you're in now is filled with limitations. It's surrounded. It's like you can't go outside the parameters of this. So that's just another box. You hopped out one box into another, you know? Um, Jayla, we no, we didn't. I personally never watched any of these videos until honestly, I think the first one I watched was the one I showed y'all. That was the first T video. Oh no, 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 no. The first one I watched was when she posted the video of Armand speaking after he left the cult. That's the first T video I saw. I didn't know that she didn't talk in her videos. Like, I had no idea that, like, because he told us that like she was you know, like a demon who said negative things about him. He would tell us that all of the women on YouTube that have channels about him were like really wanted to be with him. They were really infatuated by him, but they just couldn't be with him, so they hated on him instead. Y'all really, you know, he would say, y'all really love me, but you pretend like you hate me because you can't have me. You know, so I mean, I did believe it. I believed it. And I didn't watch any of her videos until I actually left mentally, because it's kind of like one of those things that is just considered like sinful to basically watch other content and other things that have different narratives, have counter narratives. You know, we really couldn't even watch anything outside of the approved content in the so-called curriculum. You know, we couldn't watch anything outside of that. That's why you hear them playing his videos over and over now. That's what's allowed. Yeah. That's why I don't remember thick. I thought that's what it was. That's why I don't remember, because I wasn't there, like at the restaurant thing. But I do remember that on live, I believe, because isn't that when he asked her, "How would you feel if, you know, if so and so came back or whatever?" And, you know, Like, what? Why are you asking her that? It's interesting. I remember that. Everything was controlled, and when you're in another country, oh, well, okay, I'll say this. For a lot of people, myself included, we were paying our phone bills, but when we joined Carbonation and your money gets turned over to him, your phone bill stops getting paid for. And he tells you, like, don't worry, I'm gonna get you a new phone, or I'm gonna get you a chip, which is, a SIM card when we get to Mexico or wherever, and then you can just use that. So he would authorize certain people to have chips in their phone, but not everybody had a chip. Not everybody had a SIM card, which means some people literally only had Wi-Fi. And at any point in time, your phone can be confiscated. At any point in time, your phone can be reviewed, which is searched. So they can go through your messages. He can go through he's actually been through my messages and phone calls before. If you are around him, well, it doesn't matter if you're around him or not. You have to have all your phone calls have to be on speakerphone. He would say it was because of spiritual reasons and stuff, physiological reasons, but I just think he wanted to hear our conversations. So, you're less likely to have a conversation with somebody, intimately if you have to be on speakerphone. And that's how it went. And there were times where certain people didn't have phones. Some people got their phones taken or had to give it to other people. I remember I had to share my phone with somebody. Like, if you were seen as a less important person, or for whatever reason he didn't feel like you deserved certain things, it was taken from you. So but yeah, sometimes you just didn't have service. Literally. Mo Light came through with Mo Light. Accountability, yes. This is why I put the dangers of victim blaming. Oh my goodness. And you know what? Thank you for saying this, because it gave me the courage to do something I should have done before. Okay. While we're at it. Okay. Because are we gonna go there? We're gonna talk about it. So we can go there. It's so dangerous, the whole spiritual. I shouldn't even say, I don't even like putting spiritual on it, because I feel like it's clouding that word, which is really not a bad thing. So-called spiritual woke folk think that they just got it, right? They just intellectually inferior than everyone else. Oh, they're so enlightened, and anybody who's speaking truth to their abuse or to harm done is so unevolved, because they don't realize that they did it to themselves, or all that type of rhetoric. I just really think it's very dangerous, and I hope that nothing. I think it's dangerous not only for people who know that harm is being done, but even for people who don't know harm was done. Because either way, it hinders healing, and it's invalidating. And you don't have to agree with somebody to be respectful, or to just allow them to, not even allow them. Everybody has the right to their voice, and what they want to believe. But I personally don't support the beliefs of these fake, woke, spiritual type think that everybody doesn't understand reality but them. Because I was once in that position where I viewed people like that, and I thought I was so chosen and elite that everybody else didn't have the knowledge I had, therefore they were suffering. But them be the very folks suffering for real. And interesting because it's a whole walking contradiction, because in their in them saying like, hey, don't play the victim, they also can't take accountability for anything. And I think it's almost like a scapegoat or it's a way out to say, oh, everything that happens is happening because you made it happen. It's a way out so that you never have to take accountability for what you do. Period. And I just move different. I take accountability for my choices. I take accountability for everything in my life now. And a part of me taking accountability for what happened is being honest and being truthful and not shifting blame where it doesn't belong. But I will never ever say that the person that abused me and many others doesn't deserve what they got with life. I think justice was served with life without the possibility of parole plus 10 years. And, sounding real bishopy with that, I forgive you. You can stay over there with that. Yeah, these YT screets, man, that cult speak is real. And when I start hearing certain things, I'd be like, okay, you sounding a little culty. I'm gonna have to shake. Like, I'm gonna have to be gone. When you still saying them same things we was saying, like, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, you must not know I said them things for years. I know what I hear when I hear it. Bag. Y'all be buddy. I know a lot of people have asked it. Not a lot of people, but some people have asked this. I think some people just know, like, I mean, because I would never ask you. Let me not. I appreciate your question. I do support. I'm gonna say this. I believe in therapy. I believe in therapy, but I'm not putting out my medical information on this here internet. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to put this up there. This is a little too graphic. But yeah, I had seen it. I mean, yeah, I remember him saying all that. Oh shoot. Yeah, it had a lot of he said a lot of crazy stuff. Thick. I remember that. Hey Taylor, what's up? Mischief. Miss Mischief. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yes, Taylor, aka Liz, your babies are so beautiful. By the way, I seen them on your story today. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, I do want to shout Liz out. Y'all could go follow her on IG. I don't know your IG handle, but I noticed that you are rolling out, you're authoring a book. I think that's really great. Or you have authored a book. I think that's really great. Y'all go check that out. Where she talks about her experience. And then also Janae has authored a book, Lesson Learned. Y'all go check that out too. I'm going to read it myself. I'm very much excited to do that. And I got my copy. Well, it's not here yet, but when I get here, I'm sure gonna be reading that. I'm gonna light my candle. Y'all go check that out. And congratulations to the both of you beautiful ladies, because that is a great and amazing accomplishment. Then you ain't trying, cutie. Hey, yo, cutie Judy, you ain't trying. No, I feel it though. Sometimes, we don't got the energy for that. Like, I realize, like, man, not everybody wants to understand, like, how did this happen? I personally probably wouldn't even have the desire to understand what happens in cults or cult-like situations if I hadn't gone through it myself. I probably would have never really been like, how does this stuff happen? Like, I just don't get it. And it's still I still am guilty of a little victim blaming, or, looking at the current cult members, and just being like, how are you still thinking that this is your God? Like, this is crazy. But when you're in it, it's a different story, So yeah, I think when you try to understand, it's possible. It's possible to get it. It's possible to understand. You can see a little bit more of how somebody can get involved in that. And I would hope that it wouldn't take a tragic situation like what happened to me, for anybody to understand it, But I realize that some people it does happen to, some people who don't think it could happen to them, But I think that it's great to be educated on these things. So there's a lot of information out here about cults. If you don't know about Rick Allen Ross, he testified in the trial. And he's a cult expert who has a catalog or research base, you want to call it, about cults, on the cult education .com.org. I don't even know. Somebody can drop the link. But if you look up Rick Allen Ross cult education, I'm sure you'll find it. And then also Dr. Stephen Hassan, he has great information on cults and uses the BITE model, which breaks it down how somebody can be indoctrinated into these types of groups. And yeah, I mean, if you want the information, it's out there and it's interesting to know. And I think it's also something that is good to be educated about, not only for entertainment, but because these groups are out here and they're recruiting youth. And sometimes they're recruiting, like in the case of the program, that documentary that I watched today, they're recruiting parents to then get their children, like it's sick stuff. And I know you're like, how do people fall for that? But if you're at a vulnerable time in your life and you really need the solution to your issues and your problems, some things can look like a bright and sunny day when you're in the darkness, So I just hope it, maybe, my voice or um the research that's out here, someone else's voice will help prevent those types of situations, or at least bring awareness to them, because I'm sure, like, it was funny. I was in a room of like maybe like 5 women and, having like a little girls, wine moment, little chit chat. And I decided to open up about my experience. And two other women in that room knew somebody. One of them knew for sure that they had a loved one that was in a cult, and the other one thought it was a possibility because they were seeing some behavior. They wanted, they were curious about what cults looked like or what it looks like in the first couple stages because they started seeing certain things in somebody they loved, and they were like, hold on, is this what's happening? And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I'm in a room, it's just 5 people, and already 2 of these people can relate to what I'm talking about in some way that's close to home. And I just thought, like, wow, wild. I love it too, Cash Barbie. Yes, thank you, BB. But yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, it's been 2 hours already. Oh, I gotta go, y'all. Because I hear my son calling me now. He's like, okay, your time is up. And but it was great talking with you guys and chatting with you guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you once again. For anybody who came in and didn't see the beginning, go back and watch the beginning because we talked about some cool, what does it say? Yes, we talked about my video the day I finally denounced carbonation, and which was cool to revisit, interesting to revisit, and yeah. Anybody that's catching this on the replay, hey, thank you for staying all the way to the end. I appreciate you. We will talk later. Okay, RJ. Yes, and what you just said, I agree with as well. Yes, looking for answers to life's problems, depression, spiritual journey, and looking for spiritual answers. It can happen to the vast majority of us. Yes, it definitely can. And yes, Blog Lurker, the program was crazy. I agree. Go watch that if y'all have the moment or y'all have the mental space for it. And much love, Cash Barbie. Much love, Medea. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, Blog Lurker, and everybody that came and was in the chat. Everybody that is so supportive. I appreciate y'all. Some of y'all have been supportive from day one, and I really appreciate that. Y'all don't even know more than I say, for real. No problem, Mystic. I'll be back. And to all my moderators, thank you so much. Thank you, BB. Thank y'all for holding it down for me. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. Much love to you.
Never miss a beat with TD Clear. No interest, just a simple monthly fee.
Yes, yes. I hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget if you so a lot I skipped past a lot of parts. And if you want to see the whole entire video, go check out Kendra Carter. Go check her out. Yeah, she's a very smart young woman who accessed therapy and education to help work through her confusion and feeling after leaving the cult. Nature Boy is making his daddy proud. Uh-huh. Hey Netta, how you doing? And like he would say, he did it to himself. Mm-hmm. Dang, Nature Boy was an abusive parent and he treated the members like his children. Baby, uh I wouldn't say children. If that's how you treat kids, woo. I don't want to be his kid neither. I don't want to be his kid neither. But I like to keep up with the progress of their new journey in life. I like to keep up with the progress, and hopefully, you guys too. We've been, watching this for years, and I like to see the progress. I like to see that they're growing. I like to see that they're snapping out of this mess. And even love the fact that they're talking about it because they're saving a lot of people's lives. Because a lot of people that came out of cults, you don't see them as verbal as them. You don't see them talking about their experience. Like we have heard from a lot of cult people. You don't see this too often. We all heard of cults, but you ever heard people like really sit up there and say, "Hey, this is what happens in a cult. This is what I've been through." You may catch it on a special, a special, or they may do a documentary or whatever, but you don't get to see this, and they're helping people who are in other cults, right? This might be their factor that will make them leave, knowing that they're going to be all right. This might be the deciding factor. You know what? I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be okay. It may be like, you know what? I'm not going to hell if I leave this person. The world will accept me. I'm not a misfit. I don't have to stay here. Because look, she left the cult. Her cult leader told her the same thing. She's thriving, or she's trying to thrive. She's not doing bad. So if I leave, because there's a lot of other cults we don't hear about, right? It's a lot of other cults that tell you a lot of stuff. It is. So kudos to you, girl. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. So I'm going to leave y'all. I'll be back. And thank all of you guys, all my moms and everybody else. But I'm going to leave y'all.
In the land of real, there's a love that's true. Sugar love is her name, spreading sweetness too. Her voice like velvet, smooth as a summer breeze. A podcast, a soundtrack to everybody's ears. Sugar love, she's the queen of soul. Ooh, yeah. A podcast, the place where the stories unfold. Ooh, yeah. News and entertainment with a touch so sweet. She's the heartbeat of the community's beat. She brings the news with flavor like a cup of hot tea. Uncovering stories, bringing light to what we see. With her infectious laughter, she uplifts every soul. Sugar love, she's the one who makes us feel whole. She's the one who makes us feel whole. In
Thank you, Angela.
There's a love that's true. Sugar love is her name, spreading sweetness too. Her voice like velvet, smooth as a summer breeze. A podcast, a soundtrack to everybody's ease. Sugar love, she's the queen of soul. Ooh, yeah. A podcast, the place where the stories unfold. Ooh, yeah. News and entertainment with a touch so sweet. She's the heartbeat of the community's beat. She brings the news with flavor like a cup of hot tea. Uncovering stories, bringing light to what we see.